What's up, guys? I'm back. I was going to do a quick video on my attempt at no-dig potatoes. Okay, so it is mid-March, and what we have here, what we're looking at right now, is one of my garden beds. So what I did last year for fall prep, for winter prep, I mowed all of my leaves up off my lawn, and I spread them out on my garden beds. And as you can see, I didn't get very good breakdown. The problem was we didn't really get hardly any moisture all winter long. But one thing I wanted to show you here, so I just dug through that layer I put down of mulch, leaves, and I have to dig into the soil about 3 inches, and I start to get a little bit of moisture in the soil, which, considering we haven't had any significant moisture since September, and like I said, it's now the middle of March, that's not too bad. I mean, I'm actually kind of surprised to find moisture that close to the surface. So I have all this organic matter that's not broken down, and I got a few weeds that are starting to break dormancy and pop through. What I'm gonna do to take care of this, I'm gonna take Dylan's bags, which, okay, so when I go shopping, for about the last year or so, I've been getting paper bags. I don't know, they're probably 12 by 18, I would guess, would be the dimensions. But my beds are 4 feet by 8 feet, so, 4 feet by 25 feet. But that means when I lay these bags next to each other, about 4 of them across is one bed. Okay, so I'm going to lay down bags to cover this entire bed, and then I'm going to plant on top of them. I'm going to cut holes in them to allow the potato roots to penetrate, and then I'm going to put my potatoes on top of the bags, and then I'm going to put on a good layer of compost, and then I'm going to put on a whole bunch of straw. So I'll take some quick clips as I'm going through here and kind of show you how it's coming. Alright, so here's what I'm going to be planting. All they are is actually russet potatoes, organic russet potatoes that I bought at the grocery store, and they sat a little too long. You can see I actually have some garlic in there too. Here, that also sat too long, but it's silly to throw this stuff out. So what I did was I cut up the potatoes that had sat in here too long, started to get eyes last night. And I'm going to plant them out in my garden today so they don't go to waste. So as you can see, I cut them last night, and like this is overnight. They kind of have a scab on them. Some people swear by letting them cure and scab up overnight. Some people say throw them straight in the ground. I've always let them scab up. I don't really have an opinion either way because I haven't tried it the other way. So I got all of my bags laid out here. As you can see, took quite a few. I didn't do the math here to figure out how many, but like I said, I've been saving all these grocery bags for like a year. This isn't even half of what I had. But I noticed, I was getting an accumulation of a lot of plastic bags that I then had to store and remember to take back to the store and recycle, which, how that goes, it almost never happens. So I decided I can get something that can be a weed barrier, add some organic matter back to my soil, take a waste, and get something useful out of it. So that's why I've been saving these. I'll be using them as mulch and other things too. And when I was talking before, I was thinking of cutting holes in these bags, but as I laid them out, I thought, well, that's dumb because right here between the bags, every single one, you've got a space. I said this isn't going to be a perfect weed barrier because you're going to have areas for weeds to sneak up through the middle, which is fine, but it's going to be a pretty good mulch. I was talking about before the soil was pretty dry, so I gave the soil a real good wetting down before I put the bags down, and then I put the bags down on top and then wetted the bags. This is the first calm day wind-wise we've had in a while. I wouldn't have been able to do this for probably over the last week and a half. This would have been the only day that was calm enough for me to actually get bags laid out and have them not blow away the entire time I'm working with them. So that's kind of something to think about. So I'm going to start taking my potatoes and basically laying them here in the margins, just like so. I'm going to do this whole thing, and then I'm going to start adding compost. Okay, so the compost is all on, and I wanted to take a second to talk about the labor involved here. This is fairly labor intensive, but if you're on the gardening level, I wanted you to think about the labor on the opposite end. Okay, so if I were to do potatoes the traditional way, I would dig a 6-inch deep trench. I could probably only fit 3 rows per bed because of the way the trenches would need to be spaced. You're looking at about 12 inches spacing on potatoes generally, which these are probably 12 inches side to side and about 18 inches lengthways, which should give them a little more space than they actually need, but they'll be good. So if I were to dig them the traditional way, I'd have to dig the trenches, and I'd have to add all this fertility in anyway. So anyone who's ever dug through heavy clay knows that that's lots of work, and that's also one of the biggest reasons I don't like planting potatoes, with the exception of sweet potatoes, because they're awesome and worth the labor. But here we are. What I have here is 17 rows. I counted them out, and I've got 4 potatoes in each row. That means I scooped 68 about medium-sized shovelfuls, spade shovelfuls of compost. Each one of them got 1 shovelful on top of it. So rather than digging up, entire trenches down the whole thing and then having to add this fertility in, what I'm doing is throwing the bags down, putting the fertility right on top, and then now I'm going back. I'm going to wet everything down, add straw, then wet it down again, and be done. That's way, way less digging than if I were to dig this up, and I'm just adding on top of the existing soil structure, the existing soil organisms, the existing environment, without having to disrupt it and lose all the carbon that's stored there. So that's my thinking, and I'm going to continue. All right, these are my boys. This is Max. This is Hendrix over here. Hendrix, you want to say hi?
Hello. Hello.
All right, so I found some cheap labor here. But what we're doing is, you can see, we started piling the straw up, probably about a foot thick with the straw that we're putting on. This is what it looked like before the straw went on. I wetted those piles of compost down real well. Here's Bennett. Here's my other son. He's coming to help too. Hey, June down. All right, so we're going to continue working and get this whole bed covered, and then we'll water it in. What's up, guys?
We finished our
What did we finish? Hey, Ben, don't step on that bed, remember?
We finished our potato.
Yeah?
The hay pile of death.
The hay pile of death? Where is the death? I think we're trying to make life, right?
Yeah, but if you fall into it, it'll be death because you'll kill many potatoes.
That's possible.
Real
So, what was it we planted?
potatoes.
What's today?
Spring break.
It's spring break. It's a holiday that you learned about in school.
St. Patrick's Day?
It is St. Patrick's Day.
I didn't know. I'm not wearing
And what is probably the most important crop that the Irish relied on?
potatoes.
Potatoes! All right, cool.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, so we planted our potatoes on St. Patrick's Day. Good job, guys. Thanks for your help. Okay, so I got Hendrix filming here, and
Hi.
I am finishing watering this in. We ended up using about a bale and a half of straw to do this entire 4-foot by 25-foot bed.
Daddy?
Dry, it was probably 14 to 16 inches deep on average, I would guess, over the bed. Once we wetted it down, it's probably closer to 10 inches. Here in Kansas, you're talking $3 or $4 bale for straw, and so that's not, it's relatively cheap to cover this entire bed. And yeah, happy St. Patrick's Day, guys. We're gonna have a lot of potatoes this year, I hope. I'll try to record another video and kind of let you know how this turned out.
I get to pinch him now. Get him.
I'm holding the green hose. Does that count?
No. Get him.
I'm gonna get you with the hose if you don't.